Hello, everybody. Welcome to Browns and Beyond, your home for Cleveland Browns content, NFL content, and other sports content. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you stay locked in with all the latest sports content. And most importantly, drop us a comment. We want to hear your thoughts. All right, boys, here we are. It's Championship Sunday. Big football. The weather is terrible here in Akron, Ohio. Right, Dave?
Oh man, we're shut in here, Brent. It's we look outside. It's a winter wonderland. It's tough to get out. I'll probably be doing some shoveling here probably later. But overall, the most important thing today, Steve, is we've got football, and we've got two championship games that I'm excited about. What do you think, man?
That's right, guys. I'm excited myself. Speaking of shoveling, I was out there shoveling earlier. Man, it's heavy snow, man. But I got some sidewalks plowed. We're trying to get the restaurant open. It's just been chaotic, guys. It's real cold and snowy in Cuyahoga Falls and Akron, guys.
Yeah, but we get football, Steve. We get football, guys.
Exactly. That's what I'm excited about.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we will get to our first topic of the day, and that is the coaching carousel update. We will go through 8 different topics, and we'll get into the 8 different teams, I guess, and their current scenarios as far as the hiring, and we'll get into in the 2 openings, and that'll be the Browns, and at the very end we'll get into the Buffalo Bills, and we will start with the Cleveland Browns coaching search. And real quick, just to kind of give everybody the latest update on us, and then we'll turn to Mr. Dave Greenshow to give his insight. Yep. Is that Nathan Shieldhouse the passing game coordinator for the LA Rams appears to be the favorite, and the reason for that, he is the favorite at this point, is mainly because the interview, everything's kind of tailored around his interview, which I believe is this week. I don't know the exact day yet. Do you know the day on the Shieldhouse interview, Dave?
Yeah, I would imagine it probably would be maybe Tuesday, Thursday, somewhere in that time frame. Obviously with the Rams playing today, I think that there'll be a little bit of a time frame, a little bit of a break in time there. So but it probably I'm thinking Tuesday, maybe Thursday, somewhere in that time frame.
And if the Rams win, does that impact anything or no? Because I heard a couple things. I heard 2 things. One is I heard it would impact the hiring of Shieldhouse, and I also heard and it wouldn't. So do you know anything about that, Dave or Steve?
Yeah, well, I think that's going to probably, he's got to prep for the Super Bowl. So, the Browns would have to be kind of in a waiting situation there, I would imagine. Wouldn't you think, Steve?
Yeah, guys, I think with Shieldhouse, it'd be a little bit of the waiting game.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that's how that's going to go.
Yeah,
something too fast. I heard I heard that they could announce something on a Wednesday, but that might be a different candidate if that's what it was. Shieldhouse might be delayed a little bit.
Yeah, that's another thing. So that's something else we'll have to be looking into. As this gets closer, is the Shieldhouse situation. If the Rams would indeed win, would that impact the Browns hiring? I really don't want to wait 2 weeks, Dave. I don't know how you are. I want to get this hire situation resolved pretty soon. You know what I mean?
Well, this is
yeah. So anyways, Shieldhouse is the favorite. Then I think it is a tie between Udinsky and Mr. Jim Schwartz. And I also read something the other day, another report that Schwartz was cool with Shieldhouse taking the reins, and he would be the DC. So that's another scenario as well. So we will turn to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, give us your insight on this Browns coaching search situation.
Well, it continues to be a mess to a certain extent. We shouldn't be surprised. Just some updates from this previous week. We saw 2 coaches remove their names from consideration. Jesse Minter is the latest candidate to remove himself from the running. He ended up taking the Ravens job. I will get to that a little bit more later. Now, according to Cleveland.com, Minter's decision, he's eliminated himself. The former Miami Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel, withdrew his name from the team's coaching search. McDaniel accepted. I think it's temporarily accepted the offensive coordinator position with the Chargers if he does not land one of the league's other head coaching jobs, which he's hoping to do. The team did conduct second interviews with defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken, and Rams, Jacksonville Jags offensive coordinator Grant Udinsky, and Rams passing game coordinator Nathan Scheelhaus. My list was as follows. I was always a Brian Flores guy, number one. He has taken an extension to stay with Minnesota as the DC. He has that leader of men type quality. Plus, he has head coaching experience. The guy I had at number 2 on my list was Joe Brady, the OC for the Buffalo Bills the last basically 2.5 years. He's done some really good things, although it helps to have Josh Allen. I get it. I think he's a very solid offensive mind. He was one of the architects of that 2019 Joe Burrow LSU offense that broke a lot of records in college. I think he could be the type of offensive mind that could turn around the Browns' offensive quarterback situation. Yeah. Although it might take a miracle worker to handle that, guys. But bottom line, he could be getting the Bills job from what I'm hearing. Browns DC Jim Schwartz would have been my third choice. Again, he's done a really good job with the defense the last 3 years. The players love him. Not to mention, he has a good understanding of the Browns organization. Not so sure that's a good thing. But I like what he's done. I like the fact that he's been a head coach before, and he also, I believe, has that leaders of men quality. I will say this about Scheelhaus before I asked Steve his opinion on this. He's a younger guy. I know he's in his early 30s. He was a former college quarterback at Illinois. And I just think, Steve, there has always been this attraction to high.
Yeah, guys, I don't think the Browns are in as bad of a spot that, as fans and media think we are. Many people on Facebook are writing like how they think we're stupid and every candidate is passing this up, just because Mike McDaniel passed this up, things like that. Let's bring it down a notch. I think Andrew Berry, Dave, is doing his extensive homework because we know we have to get the right head coach right this time, guys. And Dave, the Browns are reportedly a data-driven operation. And they're requiring head coaching candidates to complete questionnaires, multi-part essays, and a personality test.
Wow.
And Andrew Berry is also bringing in Tom Telesco. He's a former Chargers GM to help with the interviews for the new hire. And Telesco and Berry, they work together in Indianapolis. So pretty interesting. Dave, they're really getting into it this time. So I'm not upset with them for that. Doing their homework.
I have to make a comment here. I'm interested, Brent, if you want to chime in here. I think that it's obvious that there's a reasoning behind all these coaches passing up on interviews with the Cleveland Browns. I think it speaks for itself. I mean, let's be fair. I mean, there is some talent on this roster. There's some good young talent from this previous year's draft. We get that. You're going to have the defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett. We get that. But the bottom line is this is an organization. This is still not an extremely talented roster, especially when you look at the offensive side of the ball. You have a quarterback situation that's in flux. And not to mention, all that years of losing and the culture here, Brent. I think that's what's stealing away a lot of these coaching candidates. I think you have to say that.
See, I don't think that. Let me explain.
Go
I
ahead.
don't think the team itself has anything to do with the reason why they're. I feel like it's obvious they don't want an experienced coach. They really don't. They want to get this. They want the hot shot, and I think it's been known. And I also think the Haslam and Barry combo is kind of keeping these experienced guys. They don't want anything to do with it because they, this is the typical meddling, I'm your boss kind of job. This is not this is not a job where Harbaugh comes in or McDaniel and they got rain. This is I hate to say this, Steve, this is corporate America. This is the ultimate corporate America team. We are no longer in the sweepstakes of getting a free-for-all coach that gets a say. This is going to be a meddling type of team. It is what it is, and that's why they're not getting the candidates. They're deciding to go this new hire or no, not a lot of. Sorry.
Yeah, Brent. Jimmy, he still wants that control, even though he's always saying he's willing to let some of that control go. He still wants to say. And then don't think for a minute that Andrew Berry, his job is really up for debate this year. This is real important. He's in almost like Stefanski's shoes the year that just happened. This is what Andrew Berry's going into in 26 next year. So he's going to have a lot on his plate, and he's got to get everything right, or he could even be gone. So,
yeah, and listen to this, guys. Wait to hear that. I didn't really get to listen and talk to the Shieldhouse as far as like, I finally got to take a look at him the other day as far as his demeanor. Guys, this is Andrew Berry's guy. Him and Andrew Berry are first cousins. I'm telling you right now, their demeanor is similar. They're analytical. They're nerds. They look at the game the same kind of way, I think. And I think that's going to have a lot to do with him getting the job, is that this guy is a lot like Berry. But go ahead.
Well, I will say this, Brent. The McVay coaching tree has bared fruit in the past. It has. Yeah. I'm not. That's why I think so many people that had like a cup of coffee with Sean McVay were getting interviews with other teams, and I get that. He's a young guy. Maybe he can come in, and I'm all for an offensive mind. But I would like a guy. This is why Brady would be more of a leading candidate for me than Shieldhouse, because he's run an offense. He's young. He's 36 years old. That's not a senior citizen, and he's had some success in doing it. He did it at college, and he did it for at least 2.5 years at Buffalo. To me, he's this season's Ben Johnson, who I thought would have been, who's obviously done great things with Caleb Williams in Chicago. So I want a guy that's actually running offense. I really wonder how much influence Shieldhouse has had on this Rams offense. That's what I come back to. How much of it is just purely McVay? We're back to a little bit of an Eric Bieniemy, Andy Reid situation. We don't really know what I mean. You know what I mean?
See, here's what I think, guys. I don't think it matters about. I'm just giving you my opinion about it as far as the way Barry's looking at it. He doesn't care if the guy's called plays. You know what he's looking at? What is his coaching tree? And Retzer brought up the Udinsky guy. And Udinsky, what does he come from? He comes from the McConnell coaching tree. He wants the right coaching tree. That's what he wants. He doesn't care that Brady did this. And, he wants, okay, here are the trees I believe in. We want that kind of offense of mind. And that's what I think. I think they're kind of going that way with it. Yeah.
I want to see some food on my plate. I want to see a guy that's at least run a successful offense for the last couple of years ago. That's what Ben Johnson had done in Detroit. He ran a successful offense for a couple of years. I think there's something to that. I think that matters. Maybe I'm in the minority in that, but I think that there is something to that.
Yeah, I get it. I actually think that she like what they're doing, and that is that they're getting creative. They're not getting the run-of-the-mill OC. They're going for the Brainiac. They're trying to get the whiz. They want the whiz kid. They want Doogie Howser on steroids. They just
that's the opposite of what Steve Retzer wants. He wants the alpha leader of men. You know what I mean?
I know, but they're gone. Retzer's idea is great, but they're gone. Vrabel's gone. Sorry.
Yeah. There's no one.
There's nothing left.
Yeah. See, Steve, you would have been a Flores guy, I think, too, right?
Yeah, I do like Flores, but my thing is I want to keep Jim Schwartz, whether he gets the head coaching job or as the defensive coordinator. Flores is excellent, but I just don't want Schwartz out of the Browns organization.
Oh, one more thing on this. That was another reason why they like the Shieldhouse and Udinsky situation. I forgot to mention this to you. You guys probably already knew this, but I'll just bring it up to our audience, is that the Jim Schwartz situation is easily more adaptable with these two hot
guys.
Because a more experienced guy is going to want to clean house and say, Schwartz, you're gone. I'm bringing in my staff. So just keep that in mind here, guys.
Yeah, Brent, there's reports that Grant Udinsky, Nate Shieldhouse, and even Todd Monken would keep Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator.
Bingo.
That's been addressed. So I like that personally, but I understand how a real solid head coach candidate would want his own staff.
Sure,
But
yeah, John Harbaugh.
Schwartz very easy.
Yeah.
Schwartz very easy to get along with. He's coached for a lot of teams. He's been in Tennessee. He's been in Philadelphia, Cleveland, as we know, Detroit. So, I mean, he's not hard to get along with, and he does his job. So I think that makes it easier for these young guys to consider him, and that would make Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam happy as well, and fans.
Absolutely. Hey, Dave, any more final thoughts on the search? And we'll get to Mr. Steve Retzer.
Well, I'll just say this, Brett. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I'm all for a young, innovative offensive mind. I mean, obviously, if they hire Shieldhouse and you keep Schwartz, I think that. I'm not saying that's not necessarily positive, but the other thing too is the quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
What you're inheriting at the quarterback situation. We already know Steve is a Shador guy. I don't like anybody guy. You know what I mean? Because I don't like this quarterback room as a whole, especially if it's still Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, and Shador Sanders. And then, I don't like this quarterback draft either. So, because I'm not a Mendoza fan, or I'm not a fan of any of the other quarterbacks that are part of this draft. So, to that point, though, you're also keep in mind, how about a coach that's developed or worked with a younger quarterback? Shieldhouse obviously worked with an experienced quarterback in Matthew Stafford with the Rams. So it's interesting to see how that dynamic is going to work, as far as working with a younger quarterback. So that's something to watch for too.
Yeah. All right. Well said, Dave. We'll get to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, give us your insight on the Browns coaching search.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to start with Jim Schwartz. As we know, he's a top candidate. We know he was a former coach of the Lions, and his performance, his leadership as defensive coordinator already with us. Players and fans love him. He's a top defense year after year, no matter what job he has, where he's at. I like Schwartz, but I'm more interested for him to stay as a defensive coordinator, and I want him to get that assistant head coach. You know what I mean? Kind of like Bubba Brown did to Stefanski last year.
Yeah.
And he definitely deserves the job, but I like this scenario with Schwartz, where he's also listed as assistant head coach. Okay, I'm going to get into Grant Udinski. As we know, obviously, he's the current OC for the Jaguars, and Liam Cohen and him have gotten Trevor Lawrence back on track as the number one drafted quarterback. As you mentioned, Brent, he comes out of the Kevin O'Connell tree. I love O'Connell, guys. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's one of the best young coaches in the NFL. And he said that Udinski is a rising star with an unbelievable understanding about football. Obviously, they say he's a Sean McVay type, and he's just turning 30 years old. Brent, you had me pretty sold on this guy. I thought that he was about the favorite. Him and Shieldhouse, it must be pretty close, I'm guessing. They both had their 2 interviews, or Udinski's had 2 interviews, but he's considered like a high risk, high reward type guy. I would pick him along with Schwartz, and also being the assistant head coach. And then Shieldhouse, as we know, the Rams pass game coordinator. He's had the 1 interview, and his second interview's tomorrow on Monday. Obviously, due to the Rams in the NFC Championship. As we know, Dave and Brent, he was under offensive coordinator Matt Campbell at Iowa State. He obviously is considered one of the fast rising offensive minds on McVay's staff. We still don't know how much he does versus McVay and the other guys on the offensive staff.
Exactly.
He's 35 years old. We know he's a very top candidate. I don't personally want him as a head coach, but I would take him as offensive coordinator right away.
I think this hire is due to a lack of options. I stand by that. I think there's a lot of people that have passed on this job and don't want to take this job. And I'm sorry, guys. I think that Shieldhouse seems to be, he's a lot of years in college. He's got a couple years under McVay. That's all sweet and all, and maybe he'll work out. But I have my doubts. I really do. I think I'm with you, Steve. As I mentioned earlier, I think this is Sean McVay's baby with the Rams. Now, maybe some of that genius rubbed off on Shieldhouse. We'll have to see.
I hope so. And then just real quick on Todd Monken, he was the Ravens offensive coordinator. He's 59 years old. We've been down this road before, guys. He was the offensive coordinator for the Browns under Freddie Kitchens in 2019 we did not have a good season at all. So I know you can blame Kitchens, but I don't want Monken as the head coach. He's likely to follow Harbaugh and be the offensive coordinator for the Giants. So, guys, overall, I like Grant Udinski the best. That's my opinion. I like what he's done with Trevor Lawrence and how he came out of the Kevin O'Connell tree. And then I like Jim Schwartz second, but I like him to stay as the defensive coordinator. But that's what I would do, guys. I like Udinski.
Last thing, real quick, I agree with Steve. I would take Udinski over Shieldhouse. That's for sure. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Well said. We will get to our next situation here. That's the Atlanta Falcons and the hiring of Mr. Kevin Stefanski. This is the guy we kind of know a little bit about.
A little bit. Yeah. Well, I found an interesting fact on ESPN. The Atlanta Falcons have not made the playoffs in 8 seasons, the second longest drought in the NFL. The Falcons have not had a winning season since 2017, but Kevin Stefanski made the playoffs twice in 6 seasons as the Browns head coach. So keep that in mind. Okay. Atlanta, by the way, added a new position, president of football, which is going to be filled by Matt Ryan, team's former quarterback for 14 seasons. Ryan, by the way, led the interviews for the coaching candidates. Overall talented roster. Love Bijan Robinson, first team All-Pro running back. Tight end Kyle Pitts was second team All-Pro. Grant Lidstrom, their guard, second team All-Pro. Safety Jesse Bates, formerly of the Bengals, really good safety, second team All-Pro. The quarterback situation should be the interesting one. Veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins was his quarterback in Minnesota when Stefanski was the OC in 2019. Michael Penix finished his rookie season, as the starter in 2024 and then opened the 2025 campaign as a starter before going down with a season-ending knee injury. So it's an interesting quarterback dynamic here, Brent, as far as I'm a firm believer if they start Cousins from the beginning of the season, they win that division. You know what I mean? Because they Cousins went 5-4 down the stretch. And, I think Cousins is a Stefanski type of quarterback. And then, he's back with a really strong running game. I think Stefanski still wants to run that zone, run concepts offensively. Because remember, my attraction to hiring Stefanski to begin with was I thought he would build our offense more around the running game. Because that last year that he was in Minnesota, they got a really good year out of Dalvin Cook that year. And they ran a lot of play action, bootleg, rollouts with Cousins, things like that. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Cousins be the starter there. And again, he's got a very talented roster, Brent.
Yeah. Well said. We will get to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, your buddy Stefanski. You think he's gonna you think he's gonna do good in Atlanta? By the way, I know you've been chomping at the bit to talk about Kevin Stefanski in Atlanta for a while now, haven't you?
I have, Brent.
Come on, Steve.
This is for me. I got something to say on this, guys.
Yeah.
First off, I want to start with that. I felt the Browns had to make the move, and we knew he would get hired quickly, and I'm okay with it. The Falcons guys, they went defense with Raheem Morris the last couple of years. Yeah. So they're excited to get an offensive-minded coach. And, of course, Dave, like you mentioned, he's backed by Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's, big Stefanski guy. The NFL and media talk up Stefanski, but it doesn't seem like Falcons fans do. He's considered the uninspiring and mediocre choice, according to fans in Atlanta, I'm hearing. And guess what? He's bringing along Tommy Rees as offensive coordinator. And guess what? In Cleveland, Stefanski and Rees, they were towards the bottom-ranked offense. But on one good note, he's bringing in Bill Callahan, I believe, to handle that offensive line.
Offensive line coach.
So that's a great move on Stefanski's choice there. But, that's okay. He's bringing Rees in. But don't forget, they had a bottom-tier offense, all year long. I mean, we'll see.
Steve, but just let's be real here. Players matter. Atlanta's got better players, Steve.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
If he can get that run game going with Bijan Robinson, which I don't – any coach should be able to get it going with him.
Yeah.
And then he loves tight ends, so he's going to really like Kyle Pitts. And
there you go.
Drake London's a solid receiver. I mean, they got players, guys.
Parts. They got some good pass rushers in that front side.
I wouldn't be shocked that I see them still being an average team, to be honest. I know it's a weak division.
Right.
I don't think Stefanski is a great choice for them, but they needed an offensive-minded guy. That they went defense in the past. I don't think he's going to be an offensive guru like they're looking for. I mean, look what happened with the Browns last season. And I know players matter, but I don't know. Did you guys hear that, though? Fans in Atlanta aren't as pleased as, of course, media members and things like that, or NFL Network.
Steve, I will say this. I think Arthur Blank is for the most part a solid owner in Atlanta. I was a little surprised to see him push the button on that little clean house situation. Now, it was nice that they brought back Matt Ryan, and that's all sweet and good. But I thought Raheem Morris did get a little bit of a bad deal. I thought he should have gotten one more year as coach.
Yes.
I will say this, though. I'm not saying this is completely similar to the roster Kevin Stefanski took over in 2020 with the Browns, but this is a talented roster. And again, if the roster is a little bit more ready-made, I think Kevin Stefanski is still a capable coach. He's capable of landing the plane. And this is the quarterback situation will determine all, though. Does he go with Cousins? What about Penix? Yeah, that's really this up in the air.
This is giving me 2020 vibes of the Browns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. He needs to start Michael Penix, guys. But don't be shocked if he turns it to Kirk Cousins, because that accommodates him better. That's more his style. Sorry, Brent. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, no, I was just going to say that in my mind, the Falcons give me 2020 vibes of the Browns because they're more tailor-made for Kevin Stefanski, a developed roster, a running game, a quarterback that fits. That's what they kind of had in 2020. They had good line players too.
That's right.
So Stefanski isn't that good of a coach when he's got to develop players, but when he does have an established roster, Kevin Stefanski can win you some ball games. So that's what I think.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Brent, did you see on Facebook they show Kevin Stefanski with the grill and the bling and the rings and the watches? Did you guys see that by chance on Facebook?
No, I didn't.
Hey, real quick, last point on this. I'll tell you what I did see, Steve. His old buddy Baker Mayfield called him out, by the way.
That's right. He goes, I get to see you 2 times a year now.
That's right.
Oh, Baker's looking forward to it.
I can't believe they shipped Baker off like a piece of garbage, though. They shouldn't have done
that. Baker's still waiting on that text, from Stefanski. But now they get a date twice a year together. So
it's going to be an interesting handshake at midfield. I'll say that much.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we will get to the third situation, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They finally hired a head coach. They will Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
I was a little bit shocked by this hire. I kind of thought McCarthy would be done. They did not. I felt like, I kind of agree that Jerry meddled with him. I did not think that McCarthy still had his fastball to get another job this quick, and he did. He landed with the Pittsburgh, and I think also too the Rodgers situation probably had a little bit of something to do with that too. And we will turn to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, what's your thoughts on the McCarthy hire?
Yeah, just they took Mike McCarthy, who took off the 2025 season after spending the previous 5 seasons as the Cowboys coach, before he had enjoyed that 13-year run with the Packers, highlighted by that Super Bowl victory, interesting enough, over the Steelers. McCarthy's actually is a Pennsylvania guy, Pittsburgh guy. In 18 seasons as head coach, McCarthy compiled a 174, 112, and 2 regular season record with an 11-11 record in the postseason. He's coached in the playoffs 12 times, including 8 straight years from 9 to 16, thanks to his old buddy Aaron Rodgers. This, to me, is a solid but not a very inspiring hire. The question is, will he be able to coach his former quarterback, Aaron Rodgers? He had the fortune of coaching Rodgers and Dak Prescott. So, again, he's had the quarterback play. It comes back to tell me who your quarterback is, and I'll tell you if you have a chance to win. And he had prime Aaron Rodgers. He did get only 1 Super Bowl ring out of that. So, take that as you will. Pittsburgh roster has some aging defensive players. Cam Hayward, 36, J.J. Watt, 31, Jalen Ramsey, 31, all players that I think have seen their best days. Not to mention the 42-year-old quarterback last year And they have no real succession plan at the quarterback position. I don't know if Will Howard is the future there. I know you have stability at the top. Ownership is very patient with their head coaches, no doubt about it. But the roster to me seems to be in decline. And I have to ask, guys, how attractive is a job? Is the Pittsburgh job? Just bottom line, looking at it as it is right now.
I think it is attractive because you got a good owner,
Okay.
but probably not as attractive as it was once in previous years.
Right.
The other thing too is I don't know if like McCarthy, are they going to give him a lot of rope? Because usually Pittsburgh gives their coaches a lot of rope. I don't know now. I kind of feel like this is like a 2-year deal, and if you don't cut the mustard, they're going to the next guy. I kind of feel like they're in the Browns territory. They are now the Cleveland Browns now. What I mean by that is, they're not dealing with the Tomlins and Bill Cowers and Chuck Knowles. They're dealing with. Am I right, Steve?
Yeah, guys. I think this is though an attractive job, and of course the Rooneys are some of the better owners in the business, and they do get stability. You're going to be there 12 years or more, 12 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, let's make a couple points though. When Tomlin took over the job, he took over Bill Cowher's football team. So he took over Big Ben at quarterback. He took over a talented defense. He took over, a fairly talented roster when he took over that job in 2007. So,
yeah.
It wasn't all bad. So sometimes it's what you inherit here a little bit.
I don't agree with you on that. I don't think that it's automatic stability. I feel that Tomlin was a really good coach that could get him to 500 with an average roster. I feel like if this next coach, they get some losing seasons, I don't think they're going to stick with the next guy like they did in years past. I don't see it. Sorry.
Yeah, that could be. And then how McCarthy was in Dallas. I mean, he was great in Green Bay, as we know, but how he was in Dallas. If he doesn't make the playoffs every year, at least like Tomlin did, you are right there, Brent.
Yeah,
that's an earlier exit, but they're known to not hire coaches often.
Yeah, they don't like
that's the reputation.
They don't like volatility in the head coaching position. They like to keep coaches, but all I'm saying is I don't see them putting up with it. And also too, what do you think about the GM there? And why can't they get some better players? That's interesting too.
I have a comment on that, Brett. They would be smart to stop going 9-8. I'm not saying
get some draft picks. Need some draft picks.
Sometimes it's time to just go into full rebuild mode. Sometimes it's just time to rebuild.
That's in the Steelers' language, Dave, but I get what you mean. Rebuild mode. They're like, what?
Well,
what?
But yeah, if you don't have the quarterback, Steve, which they're not, I
That's
think
true. Rodgers
gone. And I watched Will Howard at Ohio State. I never saw him as a starting quarterback in the NFL or a successful starting quarterback in the NFL. I never saw that in his future. So,
yeah.
On top of this isn't the same Pittsburgh defense we've seen in years past. These guys on defense are getting older. And we bemoan their skill player talent the entire season. We said they got DK Metcalf and nobody else. So, you know what? If you want to be patient with an older Mike McCarthy and say we're going to go into rebuild mode, I think that's the path for the Steelers because sometimes you just have to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Any more final thoughts on this, David? We'll turn to Mr. Steve Retzer.
No, that's about it. It's going to be interesting to see how much rope they give McCarthy.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Steve, give us, I know it's your favorite team of all time. You don't have anything bad to say about them. And, he's got 100 friends that are Pittsburgh fans. And they all they all live in Akron, Ohio, and their favorite crayon when they were younger was yellow and black. And
remember, Brent, they like Ohio State, and then they like the Browns when LeBron was there.
Yeah,
so
correct. That's correct.
At least like Michigan, but yeah, I like that. A selective team. Yeah. We also know somebody at the basement that's like that, don't we? Like Ohio State, they're Steeler fans, and how convenient. So, all right, Steve, what do you got on this the Pittsburgh situation and the hiring of Mike McCarthy?
Well, guys, I'm not shocked by this choice at all. They needed, in my opinion, an offensive-minded guy with experience. And, of course, as we mentioned, he has the connection with Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers still have that. They want to still win now with their experience, and they should go into rebuild mode, but they don't want to. It's not in their blood. It's not in their ways. McCarthy, he's only 62 years old, guys. God, I thought he was older than that. I mean, because we're going back into the day when he coached Green Bay and beat Pittsburgh in that Super Bowl, So I was thinking he was even older, but he's not. I mean, I think it was a good move. In the Steelers, they don't change their coach very often, so they would have been taking a risk if they picked a young guy. And I just, I know we think they should, but I just don't see Rooney and just everything they got there and waving those terrible towels around and all that. Like they just don't want to do it. Like they want to be great every year. But Dave is technically right. They really could use some draft picks and you can't always get lucky in free agency. So they have a lot of moves to make on the roster. It'll be interesting to see what McCarthy does with this roster, though.
Steve, they need to get smacked in the face with a 4-13 season. It would be good for them. Get smacked in the face with a 4-13 season.
It would help them.
Draft high, and hopefully maybe you find your next franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and maybe McCarthy can be a bridge coach. He doesn't. I'm serious.
Good point.
He's never really kind of like lately here. He hasn't been a really great winning coach, and maybe they can lose some more games with McCarthy, and then they'll get the next coach in 2 or 3 years after they get better draft picks. Just a thought. All right, we will get to the next one. That'll be Jesse Minter hiring with the Baltimore Ravens, and we will turn to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, what were your thoughts on the Jesse Minter hiring?
Yeah, Minter's agreed to terms to become the Ravens head coach a day after a reported in-person second interview in Baltimore. He spent 4 seasons on Jim Harbaugh's staff, working his way up from defensive assistant in 2017 to defensive backs coach in 2020. Minter left to become Vanderbilt's defensive coordinator in 21. I didn't know that. Then joined forces with Harbaugh in 2022 as defensive coordinator. Obviously was our defensive coordinator of their national championship winning team in 2023. He followed Harbaugh to the Chargers, working as the DC the last 2 seasons. This past season, the Chargers had the number 5 total defense and 9th in points allowed. Me and Steve constantly talked about some of his schemes and, how good of a defensive coordinator. I think it was just a matter of time before this guy got a job, right, Steve?
Oh, I agree with you all the way there. I mean, he was coaching Derwin James, Khalil Mack.
Yep.
He had the Chargers defense playing pretty well. I mean, he was probably better than Brandon Staley, who was the former head coach. Minter, he did a good job with the Chargers this year.
I will say this. The Ravens defense really fell back in 2025, ranking 24th in yards allowed. They had the bad habit of giving up big plays and being horrible at protecting leads. See that at the end of the season against Rodgers and Pittsburgh. It'll be interesting to see if that unit takes a step up next season. This is overall a talented roster, especially offensively. I think they do have a big 3 with Lamar at quarterback, Henry at running back, and I like Zay Flowers at wide receiver even as well. In this vein, I really thought they could have gotten a little bit better hire. Again, I'm going back to the Joe Brady well here. I think, by the way, he interviewed twice there. So he did have 2 interviews with the Ravens. I thought that would have been a better option. It'll be interesting to see what the staff looks like, especially at OC. That's where I think Minter's really got to land somebody, especially having Lamar at quarterback. You need to find the right OC. I do think Minter is a solid hire. He's a solid defensive mind. Just wonder if the Ravens could have had a slightly better option there, Brent.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we will turn to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, I know you got a lot to say about the Ravens. I know you seem like you're a guy that always wants to talk about Baltimore and their hiring and their team. I'm sure you're. Matter of fact, we might have to put a limit on this conversation, Steve, because I can see this going on and on. What are your thoughts on Jesse Minter and the Ravens?
Well, boys, as we know, he was the Chargers defensive coordinator, so obviously a defensive-minded guy. I looked him up. He's 42 years old. Guys, I'm just going to say it. I don't like the hire. I mean, I don't like the Ravens, but I'm speaking, in a sense that I don't like it. I think that they should have went, like you said, Dave, they should have went with a better candidate. I'm not calling Minter bad. I would have liked to see Minter on like a team that didn't make the playoffs. Like the Ravens are supposed to be ready to win now.
Yeah.
And they're really good, and they have been for years. I mean, John Harbaugh to Jesse Minter. I just don't like the sound of it. I think they should have went with an offensive minded guy. I think Lamar Jackson needs help, even though he was the MVP twice in years past. He still needs help and guidance, and you do got to get the right offensive coordinator. Like you said it, Dave. If they don't do that, then they could be in some trouble. I'm serious. He can make the Ravens defense better, which is important. But guys, I don't like the hire. I was surprised by the move, guys. I was surprised.
Steve, you're with me? You think the Joe Brady pick could have been a better pick there? You think from an offensive kind of
absolutely
play caller?
And I think they should have went offense, because you got Lamar Jackson, you still got King Henry, who's not really taking a step backwards yet. I think it's closing soon. Then you got Zay Flowers. Right. They got some players. They should have went offense, guys. Oh, yeah. That's my opinion.
Yeah. All right, well said, Steve. We will get to the next one. That'll be John Harbaugh, hired by the New York Giants. Surprise, surprise. Didn't see this one coming, right, Dave?
Well, actually, I think the Giants did, or at least they were trying to. The former Baltimore Ravens coach, who was fired on January 6th after an 18-year run with the organization, began working late on January the 14th to finalize a deal with the Giants. Art Stapleton of NorthJersey.com and The Record, part of the USA Today network, reported this. He was the most wanted coach after he got let go by Baltimore. We all know that. Harbaugh's arrangement with the Giants was the coaching. Harbaugh's arrangement with the Giants was the coach reporting directly to ownership rather than hold over general manager Joe Shane, who I think is an interesting factor here. Steve's commented on this guy in the past. I would add Shane has an interesting tenure as the Giants GM. He made the Barkley decision, but he's also had some solid draft picks. This roster has some solid talent. Jackson Dart has showed some signs he could be the man at quarterback. Wan'Dale Robinson caught over 90 passes this year. We'll see if Malik Neighbors can what he can do coming off injury. I like Cam Scatterbo at running back. Brian Burns and Abdul Carter on defense. There's some talent here, guys. All signs do point to Todd Monken being the OC. It'll be interesting to see how he can work and develop Dart at quarterback. That's the whole key, of course. The one thing about Harbaugh is I think he'll build a solid staff, from his days in Baltimore. This is a marriage of a good football coach with a roster with some potential. The development of Dart is everything. This is a division, by the way, guys, that I think could be even more wide open in 26 than in years past. This is a great hire, and I'm interested to see what Harbaugh and the G-Men look like in 26, Brent.
Yeah. All right, well said. We will get to Mr. Steve Rutzer. Steve, your favorite buddy there, John Harbaugh, hired by the Giants. Get us your thoughts on the Harbaugh hiring.
Yeah, guys, I was just going to say I was still surprised that the Ravens let him go. Obviously, he was the very top head coach candidate, and Joe Shane scooped him up really fast, and he's getting paid, right? I thought I heard it was 10 years, 100 million or something big, right, guys? I think he makes the Giants a playoff team right away. I'm talking this year coming. I do. Wow. This was the best hire of the bunch. And I like this team. I mean, Dave, you just mentioned the players on it. I mean, if they can stay healthy, that's their key. Just stay healthy. When they get all those guys playing together, I mean, I'm sorry. Watch out, Eagles. Definitely watch out, Dallas. I mean, the Giants could even win this division, guys. Don't be shocked. I mean, they're going to get much better, but they got to be healthy. I think Harbaugh turns this team around quick. They're going to be good for years to come, guys, because they got a good defense, too.
All right. Well said, Steve. We will get to the next one, and that'll be Mr. Jeff Hafley, hired by the Miami Dolphins. Dave, give us your thoughts on the hiring of Mr. Hafley.
Well, Hafley's a first-time head coach at the NFL level, marking the 8th consecutive first-time head coach the Dolphins have hired. Find that to be very interesting. Miami has a new general manager in John Eric Sullivan. This should be an interesting combo moving forward. The most interesting situation in Miami, no surprise, is at quarterback. Tua was benched at the end of the 25 season. Tua led the NFL in interceptions at the time of his benching with a career high 15. I think his days in Miami are about over, guys. although he's still carrying some serious money on that contract. Not sure at the end of the season starter, Quinn Ewers is the answer there, by the way. Halfley did a good job as a Green Bay DC. They played pretty well this season until the Parsons injury, and that's when things started to collapse. Halfley spent 4 seasons leading Boston College. He compiled a 22-26 overall record. This is a solid, I don't think it's an inspiring hire. This is a tough job. The roster's seen better days. The quarterback situation doesn't necessarily help the cause. It's just going to be interesting if owner Stephen Ross is patient. This looks like a team that's in rebuild mode. For Halfley, let's hope ownership gives him time he will need to get this team back on track and back in contention, because it's going to take a few years, I think.
Yeah, well said, Dave. Steve, give us your thoughts on Jeff Halfley getting hired by the Miami Dolphins.
Well, guys, as we know, he was the Packers defensive coordinator, and he was actually a head coach at Boston College in college. Another thing, he was a former Browns defensive backs coach more years ago. Guys, I actually like this hire because I think the Dolphins need a good defense and a guy to lead them better than Mike McDaniel was doing. Their defense is pretty bad. I mean, when the Browns beat Miami earlier this year, guys, you just seen a team that just looked like done. Now, I understand that they won many games after the Browns beat them, but McDaniel didn't look sure, that the team wasn't sure. That A-Chain's a good running back, but that defense needs a lot of work. And what better guy to get in there than Jeff Halfley? I believe he's about 46 years old, guys. And I think getting that defense to turned around in Miami is a huge deal.
Yeah, but real quick, Steve, that quarterback situation is going to be big. And don't you feel that this team is more or less in a rebuild type mode?
Oh, they're definitely in rebuild. And I'm not saying I don't think it would take him more than 2 years or so, but he's got to get him back on track. He's got his hands full with this offense. Like, can Tua do anything? I don't think Quinn Ewers is the answer.
Right.
They might have to get a veteran quarterback in there and maybe draft another one.
Yep. All right, Steve. Yeah, we'll get to the next one. That'll be Mr. Robert Saleh, the Tennessee Titans. Dave, give us your thoughts on the Robert Saleh hiring.
Yeah, Robert Saleh, he'll get a second chance at the helm of coaching an NFL franchise. He previously led the New York Jets to a 20-36 record over 3+ seasons, getting fired 5 games into the 2024 campaign. He spent the 2025 season in his second stint as the defensive coordinator of the Niners, managing an injured unit that nevertheless advanced to the divisional round of the playoffs. I think he was doing, me and Steve talked about it, doing a lot, working, water into wine here. It was huge. He did a really good job, especially with the losses of Bosa and Warner. We talked about the stars on defense that they lost to injury. I thought his stint with the Jets was marked by the Aaron Rodgers situation. Remember his Achilles injury sustained during the team's first offensive series of the start of the 2023 season. It'll be interesting to see who he chooses to help with the development of the 2025 number 1 pick, Cam Ward. That's the big key here, too, is who does Saleh get to help to develop Cam Ward? Tennessee, boy, I got my southern accent going there. Averaged just 16.7 points last season. It was second fewest since the team moved to Nashville, interesting enough. His ability to land a good OC and a good quarterback coach also maybe is paramount for his chances of success. This is a team that's continuing to rebuild. I'm interested to see what he looks like, in his second try as head man. Right.
All right. Steve, any thoughts on Robert Saleh going to the Titans?
Yeah, guys, as we know, former Jets coach and 49ers defensive coordinator. Just like Dave said, he had the 49ers playing great all season long with all his best players out. This alone landed him a coach gig. Their defense is going to be better, that's for sure. They're a young team that can improve. I actually like the hire, guys, for the Titans. He's just going to need help with the offense, like Dave mentioned. Yeah. I like Robert Saleh in Tennessee, guys.
All right. And the last one I'll go over here in the coaching carousel would be the Buffalo Bills opening. That is an interesting job because, there's already been some candidates going around. Brian Dable, you had Phillip Rivers, who I kind of like. I like Rivers. I know.
Look at the high school coaching credentials. Hey,
I was
we're about to debate on this one, buddy. But look at what's the high school coach?
Hey, Hey, Steve, you knew it was coming. I always stick up for Rivers wherever they do. I mean, he tried in the regular season. He didn't get it done.
He did a solid job with the Colts, didn't he?
I know. Come on, Steve. You remember me at the bar? You guys were rooting for me, didn't you? Come on. You wanted me to old man River.
Old man River.
I was rooting for you, buddy.
You're rooting for me, buddy. But anyways, we were going to Mr. Dave Grieto. Dave, give us your situation on here. Give us your insight on the Buffalo Bills head coaching opening there.
Okay, Brett. Easily the best job available. Having Josh Allen at your quarterback always helps, but the Bills' job is definitely the best job out there for sure. I've heard Brian Dable, the former OC, Joe Brady, the current OC, as the names mentioned. I've also heard Mike McDaniel. That's just not a fit. I don't see that. The one that
I think he withdrew. I think McDaniel withdrew. Yep.
Right. I think it. Yeah, I think I heard Dable and Brady were the leading candidates for a while. I think one may have pulled ahead though. The one that gets me, Brent, come on, former quarterback Philip Rivers. Are we serious?
He got an interview, guys. He got an interview.
What?
He did.
Yes.
It was real. Yeah, it was real.
It happened.
Wow.
2026. Yeah.
What are we doing with our lives? His head coaching experience since high school.
Hey, lucky for Buffalo. Lucky for Buffalo being really good. It's not going to hurt their status. Like if Cleveland did this, oh man, it would really be ugly out there.
Listen, I called Steve Retzer a year ago and I said, listen, the Colts, they had to get Jeff Saturday. It was a must hire, and it's but this, Jeff Saturday, he's sitting in the ESPN studio. He's perfect for their job.
Let Philip Rivers continue to coach high school football in Alabama with his 27 kids or whatever.
And the grandchildren.
All right.
Well, okay. I guess he does have a good relationship with Josh Allen, so that always helps. But to me, the right hire here is Brady. They've had top-notch offenses the last 2 seasons. As you can see, I'm a Brady guy here, guys. Joe Brady.
Yeah.
Allen was the league MVP in 2024, under his tutelage. He has a solid offensive mind for a while, and he knows the organization. Buffalo, why not? To me, he's the right guy. He's in your building. Steve, I think this is a no-brainer. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Dable guy. You're a Joe Brady guy. So we got a little debate here, Dave.
Please, go ahead. Tell me why Dable over Brady.
Okay, let me let you know here, Dave.
Okay.
Brian Dable, well, first off, he gets credited with building Josh Allen into an elite quarterback. As you know, Dave, he was the Bills' offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2021, and he turned Josh Allen into an MVP. And he's focused on more like high-flying vertical offenses that that leverages Allen's arm strength. Joe Brady, I'll give you this. He was from 23 to current 25. He's improved Allen's decision making and increased usage of checkdowns, things like that.
League MVP was with Brady as the OC, Steve.
Now I give Brady this. He's increased the short passes in the run game. As you've seen, Cook had a solid year, so I'm going to give you that.
Yeah.
But let me say this. Don't forget, guys, and this was just recent, Allen turned it over 4 times in the Denver game, so that doesn't look so good for Brady, in my opinion. And then after Sean McDermott gets fired. But, Dave, I mean, you could look it up. You can ask the analyst who's done the best job for Josh Allen. Who would be the best guy? And fingers are pointing at Brian Dable. He has done the best job with Josh Allen, and their relationship is genuine. He's a father figure to Allen, and I think he's going to be the new coach, Dave.
I love me some big bald men. I got an affinity for them.
Sure.
But it did not end well in New York for Daboll. It just did not. I know he got off to a solid start, and I know he did some good things with Josh Allen early in his career. But the best season of Allen's career came with Joe Brady as his offensive coordinator, and Brady had to do it the last couple of years with you, me, and Brent at wide receiver. They were very pedestrian at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
They had to turn a lot of water into wine, and I think Brady's already in the building. He's a younger guy. I think it's time for Dable to step back back to the OC role again. You know what I mean? You put your hand on that stove. Time to step back to the OC role. It didn't end well with you in New York. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brent? Do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, I want Rivers. I just do.
Stop.
Okay.
Hey,
How about the best of both worlds?
Yeah.
Either Brady the job and what's
Rivers quarterback.
and Dable the OC. Vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to go with my boy Rivers. I've been sticking up for him all year. Got to continue that. You never know. Hey, listen, Irsay did it with Saturday. You know, they could do it again here in Buffalo. So that's my thoughts. All right, Steve, get us some insight on this Buffalo Bills opening here, and then we'll get on to the conference round preview.
Yeah, pretty much. I said it. I like Brian Dable. He developed Josh Allen. Joe Brady kind of inherited him after that. I like Dable. He's who I'm taking, Brent, to be head coach. It wouldn't shock me at all. Like I said, father figure to Josh Allen. Allen did not look good. He wasn't holding on to that football well in that Denver game. He fumbled balls. He threw interceptions. I mean, that's got to go against Brady a little bit, in my opinion. But guess who's back? Daddy's back. Brian Dable. Get him in the building. Get that ball man in the building. Get him to be head coach of your Buffalo Bills.
All right, moving on.
There we go.
We're going to get to the conference championship preview here, and we will start with Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, I know that you're really happy about your Patriots, and you know you did kind of hedge your bet last week. You had the Patriots, you had the Texans, you kind of hedged it a little bit. Let's be honest, you had them both actually in a way. So this time you got to pick a team. I know you're going with New England, and your boy Vrabel and baked beans and reunions, and give us an insight into this Patriots at Denver in the Mile High here. Give us some insight on that matchup.
Well, boys, it's officially Championship Sunday, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The New England Patriots, 16-3, are heading to Empower Field at Mile High, as Brent just mentioned, to face the Denver Broncos, 15-3 for the AFC Championship, and the winner gets a trip to the Super Bowl. Well, I want to start off with this, guys. It's two coaches I like a lot.
Yeah.
Two great coaches in this one. Mike Vrabel, he'll likely be the coach of the year, and Sean Payton has done a fabulous job with Denver, especially beating the Bills last week. That was something that they did right there. Mike Vrabel, he said that Sean Payton is a proven winner and a very successful coach, and as many know that. But Payton, man, he's always got tricks up his sleeve. I mean, he schemes things right. I mean, two excellent coaches. Like, this is a must-watch for football fans. You get to see two great coaches, leader of men type coaches, get their players to do what they need to do. Go ahead, Dave.
I gotta say, this is a game where Sean Payton's really gonna earn his money. I know we're gonna get into that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Guys, the biggest headline of the week in the Broncos locker room, Denver earned the number one seed behind Bo Nix, but Nix has a broken ankle, suffered in last week's thriller against Buffalo. It's got him sidelined. And as we all know, veteran backup Jarrett Stidham, he was a former Patriot himself, guys. He takes the reins with the Super Bowl berth on the line. Jarrett Stidham, what he backed up, I believe, Tom Brady, and they were going to make him possibly be the future starter. I mean, and then as you know, Stidham, he left with Josh McDaniels when McDaniels got the Raiders job, as we know, and Stidham, he didn't play real bad when he did get his opportunity, but the Raiders weren't so hot, then. But he did have a good game, I believe, against the 49ers, who won the Super Bowl that year. Let's get to the other side. The Patriots have completely reinvented themselves under Drake May, guys. They enter this game, guess what, 5-game winning streak, and they're looking to return to the Super Bowl for the first time in the post-Brady era.
Yep.
No one would have thought this. I knew it. No one believed it, but I was a believer, and man, we're seeing results of that right now, guys. They can get to the Super Bowl, and no one would have thought it, though. But see, the right head coach hire, Mike Vrabel. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Well, yeah, obviously, and the right quarterback in Drake May, who we've both
Correct.
been fans of. I did want to make a comment about Stidham, though. This is where I think Sean Payton's game plan is going to be very interesting in this one. Those first couple series, I'm interested to see what that game plan looks like. Is it short, quick passes? Is it, stuff, kind of working a short game? Do they scheme up some, easy button throws for him? Or does he let him try to push the ball down the field? Does he get a fully open playbook against this Patriots defense? Something to watch. And I'm looking for Stidham's first couple series just to see how aggressive Sean Payton is with this offensive game plan with Stidham at quarterback.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting. And this, I believe that the run game is important for both sides of this.
Yes.
I'm not expecting a high scoring game in this one, guys. We'll start with Denver. Denver's run game, that they involve running back RJ Harvey. Dave, they may want to get him a few more carries to take some pressure off Stidham. I wouldn't put the pressure on Stidham that you did Bo Nix, right? Right, Dave?
Well, absolutely. I'm going to add, that there was a chance they were saying that the injured J.K. Dobbins in week 10 might play today. I haven't heard that confirmed. There was still questions that he might get a chance to play. He was running the ball really well early in the season.
Okay, I thought he was out, but man, David, if he could play, that would be a big help for Denver. There's no doubt about that. They need a running game in this one, and like you said, it'll be interesting to see short passes, or does Peyton just let it fly, let it rip? I mean, I think they do got to play a little conservative or feel him out, kind of see how his throws are going, that kind of thing. Run that football a little bit. On the other side of it, expect a heavy dose of Ramondre Stevenson and maybe a little bit of Travion Henderson for New England. They'll want to control the clock and keep the ball away from Denver's lead-leaguing pass rush, guys. Drake May, as you know, he's got his star receiver Stephon Diggs available, like we said, the whole playoffs. So look for him to have a big game. At least I'm hoping so. And then everyone loves Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah,
he's had a great year, and as you know, me and Dave, we mentioned this tight end Hunter Henry. He always gets open. So May, he can throw the ball around a little bit, but Denver's got, man, what a tough defense.
I will say this, Steve. I think they can throw the ball against the Denver defense. Other than Surtain, I think there's some vulnerabilities to that secondary. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. What I think with the Patriots at wide receiver, the key will be those offensive tackles and Will Campbell and that crew. Can they hold up in pass pro against Nick Benito and that strong Denver pass rush?
Yeah, I'm going to get into that. And let's go back to Jarrett Stidham. He could get the ball to the sure-handed veteran Cortland Sutton. Sutton's always really good. Guys, actually, Troy Franklin, he's questionable, but I think he's going to go. He'd be good to get to the ball too. And of course, they got tight end Evan Ingram as well. For the Patriots on defense, guys.
What, Steve?
Yep. Yes, that's a tough loss for the Patriots, guys. Dave, it'll be interesting, like we just said, seeing Will Campbell, who had to go against Will Anderson, and Danielle Hunter in the Houston game, go against Broncos lead edge rusher Nick Bonito. Right, Dave? Pressure's coming after Drake May.
Well, I would say this. They have two good edge guys. Jonathan Cooper on the other side is also very solid. Benito's really good. I would say, though, the interesting thing is, May, can you hold on to the football, too? If you do take a sack, don't put it on the ground. I think that's also something to watch for in this one. Because in a close, low-scoring game, as we saw last week with Houston and New England, turnovers are going to be at a premium.
Oh, yeah. And, Denver was watching the tape on that. There's the mile high factor, guys. Denver holds a 4-1 postseason edge in head-to-head meetings at home. The thin air and raucous crowd will be Drake May's biggest test to date, guys. Defense wins championships, guys. Both teams rank in the top 5 for scoring defense.
Yep.
With the backup quarterback for Denver, as we mentioned, and the cold weather expected, this could be a gritty, low-scoring defensive battle, guys. I don't see a lot of scoring in this game. You get this: if the Patriots win, they will set the NFL record for the most postseason victories in history, and that would be 40 if they get it, and that would surpass the San Francisco 49ers. And we know how many good teams there was back in the day for the 49ers. Guys, I think the Patriots will just be too much to handle, led by Mike Vrabel. And as we know, Sean Payton is a great coach, but with the backup in with Stidham, guys, I have the Patriots winning 21-18.
Wow.
Patriots Super Bowl. Like I've said, the dynasty's begun.
Yeah, and I got the Patriots winning this one 20-10.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a little close early on, and then I see the Patriots kind of getting hitting the gas at the end and getting some more points. And 20-10, I got the Patriots winning this. It's going to be a good game, I think, until about third quarter, and then the Patriots will hit the gas and finish it up. Dave, what are your you got a prediction on the Patriots Broncos game?
I do. Just a couple things. First of all, I think that the first couple series for Jared Stidham, as I mentioned, are going to be fascinating. How aggressive is Sean Payton with the game plan in this one? He does have a solid supporting cast. Denver has a really good offensive line, good group of receivers. Sutton could be very important in this one. We'll see if little Jordan Humphrey, who caught a touchdown last week, can contribute. Also Marvin Mims. It's a solid group of receivers as well. By the way, Steve, did you say Troy Franklin might not play today, or he could?
Well,
be out?
he's questionable, Dave. So I believe he is playing.
Okay.
But, so he can be effective as well. But just mentioned in that he is part. He's questionable.
I'm going with the Patriots. I'm going to say this. My concern is May putting the ball on the turf and just being. He's a rookie. This is still a very good defense, but I will say this. I think that this Denver defense is a little bit more vulnerable than people think it is. I'm going to go with the Patriots in a close one, 21-20. But I think this one comes down to late. I think this one is a great game, by the way.
Guys, I love your picks. It looks like I'm rubbing off on you, Dave and Brent. I love your picks. Picking New England to go into the Super Bowl.
Steve, I was close to Denver. because they're playing at home, and I'm confident that Peyton could put together a solid game plan. And their defense, I still think, could cause May some problems.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we will get to the next one. That'll be the LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks there for the NFC Championship, and we will go with Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, take it away here. What do you think about this NFC matchup?
Well, Brent, we get the trilogy. Maybe you should play the Rocky III music here, Brent. The Seattle Seahawks versus the LA Rams, Part 3. The NFC West rivals meet Sunday in the NFC Championship game. The Seahawks, 15-3, won the West and are the NFC's top seed. And in the playoffs, come off a 41-6 win, a rout, I should say, a fellow division rival, San Francisco 49ers last week. The Rams, 14-5, needed overtime and a timely interception to get past those pesky Chicago Bears, 20-17 in the divisional round in overtime. These are two of the top scoring teams in the NFL, with the Rams finishing the regular season as the top scoring team at 30.5 points per game, most in the NFL. The Seahawks averaged 28.4 points per game. They were the third best in the league. The Rams are in the conference championship game for the 12th time, going 5-6 in their previous trips. Sean McVay is 2-0 in such games, guiding them over the Saints following the 2018 season and the 49ers in the 2021 season when they went on to win the Super Bowl. The Seahawks have 14 regular season wins for the first time in franchise history. The Seahawks' previous franchise record for wins was 13, which happened in 13 when they went on to win the Super Bowl. Oh, they did win 13-05 on their way to the Super Bowl before they lost to the Steelers. Let's start with the most intriguing matchup in this one, the Rams offense versus Seattle defense. The Seahawks defense has been dominant. It was not that when Matt Stafford threw for 457 yards in the last meeting when these teams hooked up on December the 18th. That was a game where Seattle lost the fourth quarter 30-14 lead, as Seattle would win in overtime 38-37. Seattle actually outgained LA 414 yards to 249 yards in the 21-19 loss in LA in week 11, but gave the ball away 4 times. I really felt that the better team lost both of these games. That Seattle probably should have won the game in LA, and LA should have won the game in Seattle. So
Yeah,
it should be interesting to see Sean McVay's offensive game plan. How much emphasis does he put on the ground game? He got away from it last week against the Bears, only to go back to it late in the game, which led to a 91-yard touchdown drive. This is the third-ranked rush defense. Seattle only gave up 91.9 yards on the ground. The Rams only averaged 3.2 yards per carry in that December 18th meeting. I love the Kyron Williams-Blake Horn combo at running back. It'll be interesting to see how many touches they get in this one. Right guard Kevin Dotson returned from missing 3 games because of an ankle injury, grading out, according to our buddies at Pro Football Focus, as the best run-blocking interior lineman during the divisional round. All-pro defensive tackle Leonard Williams is a load to block. He had 7 sacks this season. As far as Matthew Stafford, I really don't feel we've seen the MVP Stafford so far this postseason. He'll need to be on the top of his game in this one. The Seattle defense is tied for 7th in the league with a team total of 47 sacks. Interesting enough, they're tied with the Rams and the Texans. Stafford failed to throw a touchdown pass for the first time in 9 playoff games against the Bears. Really surprising. The other part of the McVay game plan to watch in this one, guys, is he loves these heavy tight end sets with Colby Parkinson, Terrence Ferguson, and Tyler Higbee. It'll be interesting to see how he mixes in the tight end sets with his 3 wide receiver sets. This is a game where I think Devontae Adams needs to have an impact. He only had 2 catches last week. Adams did not play in the December 18th game, but you can't really expect Puka to go off for another 200-yard game as we saw in the December meeting. The Seattle defense does a really good job of combining coverage and pass rush. The only other defense that does it as well is Steve's Houston Texans, where they marry good coverage with a good pass rush. They held the opposing quarterbacks to the 4th lowest average passer rating this season. I believe Stafford is going to need to get the ball out quickly, and McVay will need to find ways to incorporate all his pass catchers in the passing game. On the other side of the ball, Sam Darnold. By the way, Brent, is it Fraud Island alert this week or not?
I think it is. So if I told you, if he gets this done, then he's definitely not going to be on the island. But if he loses and he gets, let's put it this way, he doesn't have a good game, and it's because of him they lose, and he throws a lot of picks, and he's the reason they lose. I'm putting him on the island. I'm sorry, I just am.
All right. Steve has not been as critical of Darnold as I have in the past, or Brent has so far this season, right, Steve?
That is true, but I'm aware he could have a big interception game as well. I think he had one in one of the matchups earlier. I think he had like no touchdown passes and 3 interceptions. So watch out for that. I mean, he could. I mean, but he is at home.
Well, okay, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Again, this is the moment of truth for a quarterback who's been under a fair amount of scrutiny the entire season. He had one of his best performances, by the way, on the December 18th game in Seattle, leading the team back from the 4th quarter deficit. That's where he led that game-winning drive in overtime where they scored the touchdown and went for 2. One of the best games of the year was that Thursday night game where these 2 teams met. Although, I will say this, he had a combined 6 interceptions in the 2 games against the Rams. His ability to avoid the big mistakes will be key in this one, no doubt. Brent just talked about it. Donald has a lot going for him, though, in Seattle. The defense is top-notch. He's got one of the best wide receivers in the game in JSN and a resurgent running game. Running back Kenneth Walker III, he by the way, tied Sean Alexander's record for touchdown runs in a playoff game with 3 last week in the victory. He also rushed for a season-high 116 yards. By the way, he had 100 yards on the ground exactly in the meeting in Seattle when they played on December the 18th. Key injury in this one. The Seahawks lost running back Zach Charbonnet for the rest of the playoffs due to a knee injury. That was a great 1-2 punch at running back. That means more of a workload on Walker's shoulder in this one. This has been a solid Seattle offensive line. Left tackle Charles Cross is dealing with a foot injury. He's going to go. Watch out for Jared Verse. He has 7.5 sacks this season. Pardon me. Linebacker Byron Young. He had the 12 sacks this season. He was limited in practice on Friday. He was listed as questionable. I would imagine he's going to go, but he was listed as questionable. So I did want to get that out there. The strength of the Rams defense has been the front seven. As mentioned, they're tied for seventh with Seattle at 47 total team sacks. The question about the Rams have been in the secondary. It's going to be interesting to see if star wide receiver JSN can take advantage. He was only targeted 4 times last week, lost my bold P. He was targeted a combined 25 times in the 2 meetings during the season. He had a combined 17 receptions in those games. I expect him to be moving around outside and in the slot, and certainly expect him to have a bigger role this week. It'll be interesting to see also if they can get an impact from Cooper Kupp, who had his most yards receiving in a game since November 9th in Seattle's 41-6 win over the 49ers. It'll also be interesting to see the impact of, if he can have an impact against his former team. They could use another receiver to step up as well. Overall, the run-pass dynamic for offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak should be interesting for the Seahawks as well. I still feel like most of this it's on Darnold. He has to avoid mistakes, get the ball to JSN, and hit those key third down throws. Guys, this is a fascinating game on both sides of the ball, as you can tell. I've said, in conclusion, for a little over middle of the point of the season, these are the 2 best teams in the NFL. The Rams have been my team, like I've said, since the preseason. They seem to have found ways to survive the last 2 playoff games, despite not seeing their best performance. The key is Stafford and McVay, the dynamic here. We must see the MVP Stafford we saw during the regular season. McVay needs to put him in situations where Stafford can utilize all their playmakers. The defense needs to contain the run and disrupt Darnold's ability to get into any kind of a rhythm. The Seahawks have been humming. This certainly looks like the most talented and complete team in the NFL. The pressure is clearly on quarterback. It's understandable due to Darnold having so much around him. I'm interested to see how much help he can get from his ground game in this one. I have a feeling this will come down to his ability to hit a big third down or red zone throw in the fourth quarter. Well, here it is. I felt like the only team that can go into Seattle and get the W is the Rams. This one will be a classic, guys. Give me the Rams 24-23. Great games today, guys. Your thoughts?
I got the Rams winning 23-20. Very similar type of score there. You got them by 1. I got them by a field goal. I think that sounds about right. I think the bugaboos get to Darnold. He's gonna turn it over in this one. He's just due to lose, and I think that's it for me. Steve, what do you got on this one?
Guys, I like the Rams 27-24. I do think it'll be close, but like we said, Darnold would have to play really good for Seattle to win, and I think the Rams are just too tough, guys.
All right, guys, we're going to get to our bold prediction here, and we will start with Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, give us a bold prediction here this championship weekend.
Well, I'm swinging again here, Brent, and I'm going bold, by the way. I'm going with wide receiver Kayshon Boutte to go for over 100 yards receiving in this one against Denver. I expect quarterback Pat Surtain to see a fair amount of Stephon Diggs in this one. This is one where I think a different New England wide receiver needs to step up. He had 3 receptions for 75 yards last week. I think he'll need to step up in this one and become Drake May's go-to guy. I do think, as I mentioned earlier, May can have some success throwing the ball in this one. The Broncos defense has been picked on by better passing games this season. Brent, I'm going with Boutte to go over 100 yards receiving. It's always good to have a little Boutte.
Yeah. All right, Dave, I like that. Steve, what do you got for bold prediction?
Well, boys, my bold prediction is that Matthew Stafford will throw for 3 touchdowns and lead the Rams to a victory over the Seahawks. It's definitely bold since Seattle's defense is so good, as Dave just mentioned, and the Seahawks are at home. Stafford is definitely the MVP, in my opinion, and he will play like that in this one. So let's go, Matthew. Let's go, Rams. Get me 3 touchdowns and get a win.
All right. Well said, Steve. All right, guys, let's get some final thoughts and get on out of here and watch this game here. Let's go with Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I think 2 close football games, obviously 1-point victories for each team. I think they're going to be great championship games. By the way, I have the Rams Patriots for the 3rd time. By the way, the Patriots dynasty started by beating the Rams, their first Super Bowl, and then their last Super Bowl victory was over the Rams. Interesting enough. So Super Bowl matchup. Although we could get another rematch if we get, Seattle, Denver. They met in that 2013 season. So bottom line, it's a snowy day. I'm just excited to watch some football here, Brent.
Yeah. All right, Steve, any final thoughts?
Yeah, guys, I'm excited to watch football. As you know, I'm a big Mike Vrabel guy. I just want to see the Patriots, so I'm looking forward to that game especially because I want the Patriots in that Super Bowl. I want to see Patriots and Rams. We've seen that before in years past a few times. So I'm just excited to watch football, guys, and just stay warm.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, guys, have a good one. Take care.